The ultra-competitive Lance Armstrong has done something virtually unthinkable for him. He has quit before a fight is over. Late Thursday, he said he's done fighting a barrage of drug charges from the U.S. anti-doping agency and was stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles. Also, he can no longer compete in elite sports, including triathlons. I'm joined now by Reed Albergotti, Vanessa O'Connell. Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Of course, you're reporting on this. You've been on this story since the beginning. Really, you helped break it with some of the Floyd Landis emails that kind of blew this thing wide open.
Yeah,
I want to ask
did
first,
break it, I would say.
There you go. Why is Armstrong taking this step?
Well, so this has been a 2-year fight for him. Floyd came forward and accused him of doping when Floyd Landis also confessed to doping himself back in May 2010. Lance Armstrong is denying that he doped. He says he passed more than 500 doping tests and he never tested positive, he says. And so now he is deciding not to fight USADA's move to strip his 7 titles because he feels the process is rigged.
We want to quickly read for people at home this part of the statement that Lance Armstrong has released. The only physical evidence here is the hundreds of controls I have passed with flying colors. I made myself available around the clock and around the world. In competition, out of competition, blood, urine, whatever they asked for, I provided. What is the point of all this testing? In the end, USADA will not stand by it. Now,
well, first of all, what's a control? That's essentially a drug test. And what he's saying is I've passed 500 drug tests. And what this is really about is the fact that these drug tests are really not all that hard to get around. It's gotten more difficult over the years, but especially 10 years ago, I mean, it was very easy for sophisticated athletes to get around these tests. So what USADA said was, look, we're not going to base this case on drug tests. We're going to base it on witness testimony. And they said they had 10 witnesses lined up.
Talk about that. What is some of the evidence that USADA is citing to take this step?
What they said is they've got at least 10 former teammates of Lance Armstrong who were lined up and would have testified in an arbitration hearing, which is the mechanism that's used, in business and also in this case to settle these sort of doping disputes. Now, Armstrong's not fighting that, so we don't get to see what that testimony would have been specifically, but we have a glimpse of what it would have been like. We have Floyd Landis, who you mentioned. We have Tyler Hamilton, another former teammate of Armstrong, who accused him on 60 Minutes. So that we've gotten some idea of what it would have been.
Why was USADA able to secure their testimony? Is there some sort of quid pro quo here? We won't prosecute you if you testify against Lance Armstrong, or?
We don't exactly know, but Lance Armstrong has accused USADA of offering deals to those athletes for immunity or delayed prosecution, some sort of deal. I wouldn't rule that out. We don't know what the specifics of those deals were, but what USADA has said is, look, we offered Lance Armstrong the same treatment that we offered all these other cyclists. And these other cyclists came in, he didn't. He's got to deal with it.
Vanessa, tell me about what are some of the things these other cyclists have said? What is the witness testimony?
Well,
effectively?
The witness testimony is pretty damning. And before this, it's important to also note that before this, there was a criminal investigation underway out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles. So that probably shook loose a little bit of evidence. The criminal investigation was dropped. There were no criminal charges brought. However, USADA is going after not only Lance Armstrong, but other associates of his, 5 others on the U.S. Postal Service team. As Reed said, we know that Floyd Landis has come forth. He's talked about blood transfusions. He's talked about discussions with Lance. He's talked about blood transfusions literally on the back of the bus during the Tour de France. Tyler Hamilton has also come forth and talked about how when he was a member of the U.S. Postal Service team, he doped, and that Lance also doped and encouraged him to dope. So we know that those two are ready to essentially testify against Lance. There are others, though, who have given USADA testimony. USADA has not made that public. We think we have a good idea of probably who it is and what was said, but they have not made it public because they have said that they have to protect their witnesses.
Okay, Reed, the judge in this case, I guess ahead of the arbitration, he criticized USADA's methods and maybe motives. What was behind that?
Yeah, Sam Sparks, the federal judge in Austin, Texas, who handled Lance Armstrong's lawsuit against USADA to try and block this whole process from taking place. In In dismissing that suit and allowing USADA's arbitration hearing to go forward, Sparks said in a couple of footnotes that, look, Armstrong's alleging that there was special treatment given to other cyclists, and that raises questions about their motives. Are they doing this for political reasons? Are they doing it to get press? And he asked those questions openly in that opinion.
Okay, great. Thank you guys very much for joining us this morning. Of course, you've been all over the story, and you'll continue to be. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot.
Thanks, Will.